How I sold my listing with 10 offers. I'm gonna give you all the steps I took in order for us to get there. I'm gonna give you all my tips and tricks how to do this yourself. If you're thinking about selling your house in 2021 in the middle of the pandemic, you need to watch this video.
Thank you for participating in another episode of Home Seller Secrets, where we bring you the latest tips, tricks, and advice to help you sell your home. Your host, Fernando Herboso, broker, owner for Maxus Realty Group. Fernando is an author, entrepreneur, and expert listing broker for Maryland, D.C., and Virginia. With over 30 years experience, Fernando has assisted hundreds of homeowners on the sale of their properties. Please welcome Fernando Herboso once again to another episode of today's Home Seller Secrets.
How I sold a house with 10 offers. Hi everyone, this is Fernando Herboso with Maxus Realty Group, and today I'm going to be talking to you about the steps I took in order to get one of my listings sold with 10 offers. I'm going to tell you everything. I'm not going to hold back, but I also want to teach you what's going on nowadays in the marketing of a property in 2021, in the middle of a pandemic, in the middle of COVID-19. There is a difference the way we're selling houses as compared to about 3 years ago, 4 years ago, even 10 years ago. This is a new market, a new way how to bring buyers to your house and get as many people as possible so you can create a bidding frenzy, basically, so you can sell your house for more money. I'm going to show you basically, but first I want to tell you this, that a compensation for a house, which is the commissions that you pay to a realtor, should never be an expenditure for you. It should be an investment for you to net more money at the end when you go to the table, when you sign all the papers and you finally give the keys to the buyer. That's when it should be worth it for you to pay commission, because that should be the investment that pays money for you. If you stick all the way to the end in this video, I'm also going to show you a tip how you can sell your house without paying no commissions. I'm going to show you the new wave of new selling that is coming in 2021 and beyond, where you are going to be able to sell your house and let the buyer pay all the commissions. Stick around. I'm going to show you around. So let's start with the beginning, how we received 10 offers in one of our listings. Selling a home without the help of a realtor is really a hard thing to do. It's a hard decision. You have to understand this is a full-time job. Regardless what the market is out there, you need to make sure that your broker, the listing agent, is ready basically to market your property properly and prepare the property in such a way that you're going to create a frenzy from buyers so you can sell it for more money. At the same time, what is very important also is that you have someone on your side that's negotiating for you, to making sure that you are going to be coming up on the top, on the winning side of a negotiation, because that's exactly what a negotiation is. Somebody wins and somebody loses. Somebody loses in some things, somebody wins in some things. But at the end, the bottom line is this. In a negotiation, going 50-50, meet you on the halfway, is not going to work in today's market. You have to be strong because you have so many options. In this case, we have 10 offers. Obviously, I'm not going to go and advise my client to negotiate one of the offers and try to get more money or try to kind of negotiate different details on the contract. We have the upper hand, and that's the reason why you need an aggressive broker that will be able to negotiate the best possible way for you. In this case, the commission my client paid me when we sold this house was basically worth it for them, because even if they have paid me twice what I asked, they will still make more money from the time we got started, because we end up selling this house for basically $20,000 more without any home inspections, without any seller contributions, and without having to have problems with the appraisal. I'm going to show you how we did this. We have the time preparation. Is very important whenever you're trying to sell a home. It's got to be something that is got to be planned, because it's not a minor thing. You have to prepare for it. You cannot just decide that one weekend you want to sell your house and put your house on the market by Tuesday. Can't do that. You have to be prepared. You need to be decisive. You need to focus on what you're expecting as far as the net money, what you want to get. And when you talk to your realtor, they have to have a prepared plan to get you there. You have to detach your emotions during the negotiation of the house. Let your realtor do the things. That is the reason why a lot of for sale by owners fail, because they are emotional connected with the house, and it's very hard to do negotiations when you're emotionally connected with something. Very important to know. You have to have a system in place to not only prepare your house and go through the steps you need to go to get to the point where you're gonna go to the closing table and make your money. You have to have the marketing in place, making sure everything is done. You're gonna use a photographer, somebody who's going to take pictures of your house, because that is exactly where people are looking for homes. They are not going to open houses right now. They are not going to be driving around trying to get into the house. They want to see your property on pictures and more pictures and videos and everything else, and then they're gonna make a decision if that's one of 3 houses they may visit before they make a decision. So your house has to be captivating by the pictures that you make, by the pictures you provide. So this is not time for an amateur picture taking and making sure that you pay a photographer to have some great pictures of your house and have plenty videos so you can captivate their minds. Make them fall in love with your house, basically. Documents and contingencies has to be very much negotiated during the process of selling a house. I'm going to show you how we did in this specific listing, so you can take advantage of the situation right now. And then I'm going to give you information about the closing details at the end. So the step number 1, what we did. The first thing that has is that when my seller called me and says, Fernando, I'm ready to sell my house. Please, let's go ahead and get started. What do we need to do? That's all I need to hear, because now I'm going to take control of the preparation. I'm going to go and visit the house, and I'm going to tell exactly what we need to do on the property in order for us to get the most money possible. I want to make sure that if you're going to invest $1,000 in doing some repairs, you're going to get $10,000 back. I'm not going to allow you to spend $1,000 on something and then get back $1,000 or get back $500, because for that, it does not make sense for you to be able to prepare a house just to break even. The reason why you're preparing your house is for you to get more money. You're gonna use, as I was saying, a photographer, making sure those pictures are perfect. And we're gonna use those same pictures to do videos and distribute this everywhere. We're gonna try to do the minimum repairs possible, because in today's market, that's what it takes. You don't need to be doing those major repairs like we had to do this many years ago in order for you to sell your house at a fair price. Nowadays, buyers are willing to ignore some little details because they just want to get the house, because they are unable to get the house, the right house for them. And they will be okay painting the house. They'll be okay doing this little minor repairs when you don't have to bother doing that. So I'm going to show you how we did on this house. We did have some repairs to do. We did have some painting to do, because obviously that was very important. So the whole house was vacant, and we painted the whole house inside, and that just brought the house up in the pictures very nice. It made it a very clean, neutral place. That was the perfect scenario, so we can get all these offers at one time. Step number 2. So my place for me is to have a pricing consultation with my seller, and we did that. We talked about the competition. Not only look at the information from the competition, but actually go and visit them, because I want to make sure I want to see with my own eyes how is my new listing going to compare with the competition that is presently now. In some cases, I actually ask my seller, I say, hey, I'm going there on Saturday at 10 o'clock in the morning. Meet me over there. Let's go and check these 2 houses around the neighborhood, because I want you to see it with your own eyes. That's very helpful for me, because now the seller is more realistic. Now the seller is seeing what they're competing with. In some cases, that may change their mind about their pricing expectations because they seeing what the market is bringing at this time. And also, this is a little bit different now because you can see some of the properties that may be in a lesser situation, the way that the house is maybe smaller or they may need a lot more repairs. Then according to that, you make the adjustments of the price. You cannot do this with Zillow. You cannot do this with Trulia, checking how much your house is worth. You have to do your homework to making sure you have the right price. Apples to oranges, exactly what I'm talking to you about. You know, a lot of people make the mistake to go into Zillow or go into some type of appraisal where they just put their address and then poof, it comes a number without seeing exactly what the house looks like inside, without seeing exactly what the house next door looks inside. So how can you compare and how can you make a decision on pricing when you're not comparing the right things? I'm always going to provide a range suggestion. In my case, I provide them with a range suggestion where we're going to be able to get, and I let my sellers make the final decision how much they want to put the house for sale. But before they do that, I want to make sure they're educated to understand exactly what we're thinking about the house is worth at this present moment. I'm also going to give them the warning, the appraisal wall. Very important for you to know if you're selling your house, because the appraisal basically is the wall that is going to stop you from selling your house for $10 million, even if your house is worth only $300,000. Anyone can give you any type of offer possible to raise the price and get the house because they have so much competition. But at the end, the bank that is giving the lender who's giving the mortgage to the buyer, they have to do an appraisal of the house and they have to determine that house is worth what you're willing to pay. And if it's not worth it, then the appraisal is going to come less on the price that it was agreed on the contract. And at that time, when that price is less, that means the lender will not be able to give the loan to the buyer because the house is not worth it. So now that is a big situation for the seller. I already sold my house for a lot more money, but now the lender does not want to give a loan to the buyer because your house is not worth it. So what happens is you go to the buyer and says, okay, are you willing to give us the extra money that is worth after the appraisal of the house to what is worth to the contract price that we agree upon? So in some cases, buyers do not have the extra money to do that. So then your deal is dead, goes back to zero, the buyer walks away, and then you have to put the house back in the market, and that is not good for you because you already lost some time and you're losing money because the reputation of your house is going to be, what happened? The house was under contract, now it's not, and it's back to active status. There is a problem with this house. And then people are not going to be willing to give you a higher price, a higher offer, just because of that reason. So very important you understand that. The next step, number 3, we utilize the coming soon listing, and basically is a way we can entice buyers to come to our house. So a few days before, even sometimes over a week, while we preparing the house with the painting and the process that we're going through, we already put the house on the market as a coming soon. There won't be no showings. It's not ready to sell yet, but people are going to be aware that your house is for sale. For that reason, a lot of buyers are going to be saying, you know, I want to see this house before I put the offer on this other house because it's coming up next, and I want to make sure that this may be a better house for me, so I'm not going to buy that other house. So we're basically accumulating all these buyers so they're ready to come in the first day the house hits the market. Coming soon listings is a really good thing. How are we going to bring the market crowd into the doors of the listing? Another thing that we do is the Facebook ads, you know. And if you don't know how to do Facebook ads, you know, you need to learn. Whether you're a real estate agent or you're a person selling your own house, Facebook is what mostly people that have money, they're ready to buy, are living in that place, and they're there hours and hours on their Facebook accounts and then watching everything that's going on. And this is the place where you need to segment the right person, the right people that may be possible the buyers for your house and advertise those pictures, advertise those videos, and advertise everything possible to making sure that they know your house is for sale. Broker marketing. This is the time when you want to take in consideration what is the reputation of your broker. How many friends does he have? How long has been he has been on the area? How long has been working in real estate? Because all those relationships that we have, whether it's going to be with real estate agents that we did transactions 10 years, 15 years ago, to the ones that we did transactions last year, they're going to know that your house is on the market. And we're going to make sure that in case they're working with a buyer that's looking for a house similar to the one that you have, they're going to know and they're going to be ready to bring their buyers for you so they can compete amongst each other. Very good thing. Blogs, videos, Facebook Live, everything that we use a lot of blogging to making sure that your house is going to be on Google when somebody's looking for homes for sale in that area. We do a lot of videos, not just one. We do the videos necessary to do the tours because we know people are watching video tours on their computers at 3 o'clock in the morning where they cannot sleep. And this is the best time to sell a house because we want to emotionally connect with them, with the house, and they say, I want to go and see this house because this seems like the right place for me. Facebook Live. I do a Facebook Live, especially when we're doing an open house, because right now we're not doing open houses, but I can assure you open houses work, especially when you're doing the open house, doing the advertising on Facebook, and you also do an open house virtually using Facebook Live, where I can go over there and talk about the house and give the tour when somebody's in their home, so they're still in bed, and they can have a chance to tour the house using my phone. I can show everybody the house. It's a good method to be able to bring more crowds to your door. That's step number 3. Let's go to the next step. Number 4. When to put your house on the market. Very important. You don't want to put your house on the market on a Monday. Now, maybe on a Tuesday, maybe, but usually you try to get it close to the weekend because that's when the crowds are going to come in. The people that are buying, they have the money to buy, they're working. They don't have time to go and see a house on a Wednesday, on a Thursday. They will have the time to go and see it on a Saturday and a Sunday. For that reason, that house has to be in the market close to the weekend as possible. You need to show it to the crowd, making sure you have all the disclosures ready, and we have also the feedback from each agent that comes to see the house. We going to ask them, give me a feedback. What do you think about the house when you looking at these other houses? What is the house compared to the other houses that are for sale around that area? What did your buyer think? Is there something that is turning them off? I want to know because I want to tell my seller, we need to fix that right away. Very important. In my case, on this particular house, we didn't even have time to do no feedback calls because we already were getting offers left and right over the weekend. We were getting offer after offer after offer, almost like every 2-3 hours there was a new offer coming in. So there was no reason to start doing the feedback because apparently everybody liked the property. So that was a good thing for us. One thing that happened during this weekend when we were getting all these offers is that the keys somehow or another, were exchanged with a key that did not work. So basically somebody do a switcheroo on the keys whenever they're doing whenever they go in the house, and they were able to change the keys. Obviously when somebody went the next time, they say, hey, the house does not open, the door does not open, you need to help me because I need to see this house. So I had to go over there and making sure, I wasn't aware of what was going on at the time because the keys were still on the lockbox. They just couldn't open the door. And I called my seller. I said, did you change something? Did it happen on the lock? Did you have problems? And he says, no, this is a brand new lock. We changed the lock because you told us to do that. So I'm looking, trying to find the problem. So I go over there and I get the keys out. And then when I try to open up, the keys is not working. So I'm thinking it's a defective lock. Something is going on. I call my seller and my seller says, I got another set of keys. You can come pick it up. So I went to pick up the keys and bring it back to making sure those keys were in place. It was a minor obstacle for us. But then later on, I find out that maybe the keys were switched, and obviously we can find out. Sorry about that. We can find out who did that. We can find out who was the person who changed the keys, because we know who was the last person that was showing the house. But then we're gonna get involved in the area that says, yes, I put the key back in there. It's not me. Yes, you did. Or whether you lying or not lying. And at the end, I wasn't ready to go into a stressful, you did it type of deal where I'm not trying to trying to get something out of them. I just want to forget about the deal. I just want to sell the house. I want to go forward. Then that's what we did. We just continue going forward without me making any guilty accusations to any realtor that did that. Things like that happens, especially when a property is hot. Sometimes, it works. Sometimes it does not work. In my case, it didn't work because like in an hour later, we have a brand new key in there and everybody start coming back again. So be very careful, especially when you have hot property trying to sell. Let's go to step number 5. The offer presentation. And a reminder for me, don't do a marketing campaign in the middle of a video. And this is what's happening. A lot of people are connecting with the marketing video they just sent. I sent a text to about 1,000 people, and that's what's going on. So step number 5, offer presentation. You need to pick the best, not the highest. That's what I told my seller. Yeah, we have 10 offers. Some of them are offering ridiculous amount of money, but you have to remember about the appraisal wall. It's very important. We need to look at different things to making sure that we're making the right decision. Obviously, I'm not gonna make the decision for my seller. I'm gonna advise them. I'm gonna give them the options, and then I wanna come out maybe for the last top 3 offers, and that's what I did. I come up with the top 3 offers, and I say, here are the top 3 offers. You need to make a decision. Which one do you want to accept? So I gave him the different scenarios as far as price, EMD, which is the earnest money deposit, how much money they're putting as a deposit when they send in the contract. Very important. The more money, the better for you. Conditions of the contract, also very important. Some contracts have a lot of conditions. Some contracts do not have that many conditions. And I wanted less stress for my clients. I don't want to go through a bunch of different conditions in order for us to get that price. So obviously we prefer contracts with less conditions. Qualify. Is the buyer qualified? Is the buyer just pre-approved, approved, or whatever? I want to make sure I'm going to talk to the lender, and I want to make sure that they have actually spoken to the buyers and they presented the information that they are making what they making an income. They have these debts and bills they have to pay. I want to making sure that they have already seen those documents in order for them to give us an approval so we can go forward, because in some cases some lenders are so busy that you just got to call them and say, hey, I got a buyer. His name is this is the social security number, and this is how much money they make every year. And the guy says, okay, he's approved for $300,000, and that's it, without even checking if what they're saying is true or not. So be very careful. I want to make sure those top contracts that I presented to my seller, they were 100% qualified, and the lender has actually seen their paperwork before we can go forward with this. The time very important for him, for the buyers and for my sellers. Since the house was vacant, I want to sell this house as soon as possible. So obviously the time of the closing was very important. I want to caution you, if there's a person that's living in the house and you're a buyer, for example, the time factor may not help you, even if you say you can close it within 25 days or 30 days, because the seller may need more time to move out of the house, and for them it will be much better to stay on the house, let's say 45 days, maybe longer. You need to call the listing agent and find out, hey, how long will they want to stay on the house? when will be an optimal time to close this deal, and that's the date you should put on the contract. That is just a little tip for buyers. So step number 6. So we did find the contract. The contract was perfect for us. I cannot discuss, the prices and all that stuff, even though everything is in the public records, but I can tell you the contract was not based on how much money they were giving, but it was based on the conditions on the contract, who was giving us the best possible deal. So we have a contract where there was no home inspection. We have a contract that we may have, they were not asking for any seller concessions, which is a good thing. So obviously the one that is going to ratify, the one my sellers pick, is the one that's going to give us the less stress, the most money, and the less chances something is going to happen on the contract itself. Obviously the appraisal wall was very, very stressful for us, because we couldn't find a contract where the person will remove the appraisal contingency, which means that if the bank says the house is worth less money, the buyer is still forced into buying the house regardless of the appraisal. Not too many buyers, especially in the lower end price houses, have the money to be able to pay the extra money above appraised value. For that reason, between all the contracts, there wasn't a single one that were willing to give us to remove the appraisal contingency, and then that means that we have to be at the mercy of the appraisal that was going to come in the future to see if we can actually sell the house for that price. Yeah, there is another way how you can able bypass this. There is another way how to basically work with the appraisal and making sure that they are gonna appraise for the price value of the contract. Those are the tips and tricks of the trade, especially with realtors that have been here for a long time. I cannot devote some of these things right here, but I can tell you, whenever we go and back in this contract, for example, the part where the compensation, the commission was an investment for my sellers, was the part on the work that we did around the appraisal and making sure the house is going to appraise for that price so we can do the sale. That's when we earn the commission, and that's why it was an investment for my seller to be able to pay me that commission so we can making sure this deal goes through. Another thing that we did right away, okay, we have several contracts. I want some backup contracts because I want to make sure I don't want this buyer hit by a bus tomorrow and I'm going to lose this contract. I want to make sure I have backup contracts, and I want to tie those contracts to making sure they're kind of obligated to me. If I call them the next day, hey, the first contract went out, you next, please come in and let's go ahead and get your contract going so we can go to closing with you. Backup contracts, it's like buying insurance basically. I want to make sure my sellers are always well protected when it comes down with backup contracts. Follow up with the lenders. That is about the systems we have in place, making sure that someone's calling the lenders, making sure they're doing the job, making sure they're maintaining the dates on there, and making sure the appraisal and the part that we're talking to you about gets done the right way. We gotta submit the contract, and everything has to do about the title to the title company, making sure all the paperwork. We didn't have no problems. We did not want to have any problems at the end. And we did everything on that end to make sure that is being corrected, and just being ready that the appraisal is going to go through, and then the contract is going to go through and go to closing. And then what we're talking about breathing, and you basically, that's what you're doing. It's like you're kind of stressed out of the contingencies that you have in a contract, whether it's a home inspection contingency, or they have to buy another house, or they have to sell another house contingency, or the appraisal contingency, or the radon gas contingency. All those things that come with the sale of a house, that could easily knock the contract off, and your sale will derail, and basically you have to start all over again. Those are the things that you have to worry about. And as a professional, I can tell you, every single case, every single sale is a different story. There is different things for each sale, and we just got to be prepared and deal with each of the contingencies as they come. Well, I talked to you about the appraisal, and finally we get a commitment from the lender. Commitment from the lender meaning that the lender now have say, hey, the house has appraised, we're good to go, and we're going to go to closing on such and such a date, so don't have to worry about this no more. So let's talk about step number 7. This is the closing day, lucky day. Number 7, we're going to the table, gonna sign all the papers, but it's not finished yet. We're talking about the final walkthrough, where the buyer's gonna go to the house, making sure that the house is in the right situation, and making sure that nothing has changed from the time they put an offer to the time that we go into closing. Obviously, if they find something wrong, like a big scratch on the wood floors, or the refrigerator is not working, or something is not right, then the buyers have the option to tell the seller, you have to fix this in order for us to go to closing. And that should be the fair thing to do. So we're gonna make sure that the final walkthrough is no problem. For that reason, we go the day before or 2 days before. I wanna make sure in this particular case, because we're in the middle of the winter, I want to make sure there were no pipes frozen on the house, there is no water going on in the basement, or any big surprises like that. I want to make sure the air conditioner, the heating is set correctly, to making sure the house is being heated and not having problems with frozen pipes. All those things before the walkthrough, so I don't have no problems the day of the closing. Final negotiations come up most of the time because of these problems that you see at the walkthrough, at the final walkthrough. They may say there was a scratch on here that wasn't before, and now your seller gonna have to pay $500 to fix it. Those final negotiations is very tricky, because a lot of times this could cost you money as a seller. A lot of home buyer agents, they know their business, they know how to buy. Sometimes they bring all these things at the end so they can get an extra money for the clients. So you gotta be very careful at the end. And finally, you just get paid, and that's when the time is when everybody signs, you give them the keys, and then the title company has all the disbursements of the money, and that's when the seller gets their money. This is when you are getting the money that you invested to sell your property, and hopefully you're going to be happy. Now, a question has arisen now in 2021, and most people are talking about it. A lot of realtors are not talking about it because they kind of like shy away from this question, because if houses are selling like hotcakes, why am I paying a commission to a realtor? And I hope you were able to see a little bit of the things that we have to do even when we have 10 offers on a house, and the things and the remedies we bring to the contract to making sure it happens. It's a lot of work, a lot of experience, a lot of things going on. A good realtor is worth the money, but then at the same time you wonder, if everything is selling so hot, why don't I just put the house on the market myself and then let people fight for it, and then I don't have to pay any commissions. I'm going to show you now a way that I think could be the future of selling real estate, not only here in Maryland or Virginia, but everywhere in the United States. The future of selling real estate is actually a mirror image of what is going on, for example, in a place like Australia, a place that's long, far away from here. In Australia, for example, the way that they sell houses is basically going through the auction, and that is exactly what they do. So they gather the buyers on the property, and everybody then brings their bids to try to buy the house. And that is exactly what we also created, a new system to sell houses, which is the way that we are going to deal from this point on. So the way the auction works is this, that you as the seller, you can name your price, and then we're going to add any commissions that has to be paid to the realtors and even the closing costs, and we can let the buyer pay that. And if they don't want to do that, then you don't have to sell it. If they don't want to do that, they don't have to bid for your house. If they don't want to do that, they can walk away and go somewhere else. But if you impose those deals, and especially when a seller's market like it is right now, and you let the buyer pay all the commissions in a way as a premium, auction premium, so they can collect the money, so you can pay the realtors, that this is the time when you're going to be able to net more money. I want you to go ahead, and if you're thinking about selling your house and you want to inquire about this, especially if you are an investor and you're trying to sell your house and trying to save money and not trying to pay as much commission as possible, but you want to expose your house to as many people as possible, this is a great way. It's not going to work for everybody, but I can assure you, if you're the right candidate, we'll be happy to talk to you. Visit my website, it's maxusauction.com, and you're going to see all the information that you need to know about this new type of selling. My name is Fernando Herboso. I've been a realtor for a long time. I have a lot of tips and knowledge how to sell a house, and I wrote a book. It's called What Your Real Estate Agent is Afraid to Tell You. I like to be very aggressive. I like to be very upfront, and I will tell you if your house is ready to sell or not, and I will tell you what you need to do in order for you to sell your house. I put all this knowledge in this book. You have this book free. You don't have to pay any money for it. Just go to fernandosbook.com. That's where you're going to find it, and I can assure you, you're going to like this book, fernandosbook.com. And if you're ready to sell your house, or you want at least a free consultation, what you need to do in order for you to prepare the house to sell, please give me a call. For Maryland and Virginia, I'll be happy to come along and be able to give you my advice. Only thing you have to do is call 301-246-0001. Again, my name is Fernando Herboso. Thank you for everything. You have your time. You stick around with me. I was able to show you all these things. I am the broker. I am the owner for Maxus Realty Group. We are brokerage licensed in Maryland and Virginia, and we're ready for you whenever you are ready for us. Again, Fernando Herboso. Thank you. Muchas gracias.